do this every time I come on here, don't I? It's 1:19. I've been up swapping laundry and doing some stuff. I've been sleeping good at night, so I've had to like revamp my sleeping hours and work hours, and it's not working for me. So my body is not having it. So I had this is like a milkmaid shirt. It's a little big on me as well. Um, my body has not been having my last little bit of sleeping schedule issues. Let me tell you what, it's grumpy. So I'm gonna give everybody a couple minutes to show up. I know this is kind of a midweek unexpected. I was supposed to be actually keeping my Jeep today and running and doing the post office run and stuff because I was feeling a little bit better. But then we had a plumbing emergency at 3 a.m. So David had to take my Jeep to run and get some stuff for the bathroom toilet after work. So he needed my Jeep. I don't like for him to go very far in that tracker, even though he would drive it to wherever. So I'm going to go out tomorrow. My eyes are hurting me. Sorry. So we're just going to have a brain vomit session today. My eyes, y'all, my eyes. Okay. What I'm going to be doing while we have a brain vomit session is I'm going to be attempting to make some hair for a doll that I've never made before. And so this is going to be my test run. I'm going to use y'all as my test run while I do this because I don't know how it's going to turn out. I'm kind of worried about it, to be quite honest. It's kind of making me nervous. So I was in for most of Booma's session last night. I stayed for like the solid like two-thirds of it, I guess. Yeah, and then I had to run and take a shower, and thank God I did because we've had to have our water off. I've just had to, like, when I need to flush the toilet, I just have to turn it on. The flush toilet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do one more. And let me tell you what, you never have to go to the bathroom. You never have to pee as much until you have to go through the trouble of turning water on and off every time you need to flush the goddamn toilet. So I've had a busy day today. And so when David gets home, he's going to fix that. I think his brother's supposed to try to mow the yard this evening. It may be the first evening that he's going to be able to because it's been so wet and rainy here. David's going to have to climb on the roof. We had that tornado and several storms of wind. He's going to have to climb on the roof and check the roof. So we're getting to that age where I don't like him doing that. But I mean, what can I tell him? He's going to do it. Everybody else married one of those too? Figures. Yeah, he just is going to do, what he's going to do to fix the house. So, we need to have our tin roof. We need to have our tin roof cleaned. Where's my stitch marker? We need to have our tin roof cleaned and sprayed with that stuff that keeps them good. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. Everybody's popping in. Hi, Ashley. Anyway, we've got to have our tin roof pressure washed and sprayed so we get a few more years out of it before we replace it. And while I would prefer to stay with tin, I don't know what David's thinking. So we'll see what David's thinking if we have to replace the roof. If we keep getting storms with twisters in them that like to swirl our whole yard and hit down the road a mile, we may have to replace it sooner than later. We've got to do some soffit repair just from the storms this year, so that's lovely. But, you live here long enough, you have to do stuff to it, so it's just part of upkeep. It's a pain in the butt, though. It's a pain in the butt. So, I've got a lot of catching up to do on, like, lives and stuff. I've got the cowlick from Hades today. Y'all look at that. Elvis cowlick. Tell me. I've got a lot of catching up to do on lives and stuff like that. Hello. And so I'm, like, not up to date on anything from where I've been so busy and not felt the greatest. And it's just, my health has been really dragging with my endocrinologist playing, I don't know, she's like playing Plinko with my thyroid medication. See, let's raise it here, see if it lands where, no, let's raise it here. It's just not doing me any good. So I've been having some not so great energy and just no vitality days. It's just, you just feel really bad. So I am trying to kind of swing back from that. I'm up today trying to do a little bit more than I have in the last couple of days. Because if I do anything, it seems like I come home and have to break down. Does anybody else understand that? You just come home and have to break down. I've already got. Okay, thank you for whoever deleted. Ashley, you're on it. I was going to say, I've already got a hidden message. Dang it. Ashley's on it. People, it's 1:20 in the afternoon in the United States. We know what they're doing about 8 hours ahead, apparently, prowling the internet. Being a satchel of Richards. That's the way it goes, isn't it? So anyway, I've been paying attention to the news, but I'm not really paying attention to the news. Like, I listen to it, but, like, do I really think, like, it's worth listening to anymore? Well, no. I listen to it mostly to know what others have running through their heads or what they think their focus should be on, mostly to laugh and wonder why they believe anyone anymore. But anyway, so I checked up on the news today. Of course, we got another ICE protest. I'm telling you what, these flash mob protests, whoever's coordinating them, kudos to you. You probably also run the Girl Scouts. That's what I'm gathering, because coordination is amazing. Showing up, amazing. And getting people to buy in, amazing. So I'm thinking the person that's running these flash mob idiot things, with all these protests, are probably run like the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, because listen, the marketing's probably the same. Be an eternal child and be an eternal child, act like a fool, and I'll buy whatever you point at. But I want to know how they're doing that. How are they doing that? How are they getting people there so quick? Y'all, I'm busy half the time. Even if it's an important thing, it's going to take me a few minutes to get there because I'm busy and I have to stop doing something to start doing something else. So, like, are y'all on call? Do y'all have beepers? Y'all back in them hoe days got beeper? Oh my gosh, you're a beeper queen. They still have those? We should look into that. Ashley says it's crazy for me how some of these trolls have so much time on their hands. I wonder sometimes if the bot farms and AI are not also petitioned to behave like trolls, because then it creates an emotional, antagonistical response and it draws people in more. I think it's funny. I play with them. But I don't know. Everybody's out to change the world. Apparently men think they do it by commenting on features of a woman not even in his continent. Glad I took so much of your time and energy. Makes me feel special. In a really weird, twisted way. So anyway, I want to know who's organizing these flash mobs. Because we can't get anybody to our county commission meetings. Taco Bell can't get anybody to handle the parasite issue correctly. Donald Trump's having really big issues talking to Iran. I'm thinking whoever's doing all this, the communication tier system that they have must be flawless, and it needs to be interjected into other things. I'm just saying, what works. And I see their communication tiers working. Now, is it beneficial for a nation? No, but it could be used beneficially. But here's the thing. If you have to pay the people to get there, or you have to bust them in, or you have to pay them per diem to be sitting and waiting to be busted in, it probably won't work. So, but I'm like, dude, y'all got something working for you there. I want to know what's doing it. Like, I want to know how this works. Because listen, I've seen people, look at a court order and a summons and be like, pfft. But a flash mob with a misspelled sign and you're there in 15, I'm utterly impressed. Like, I really am. I'm utterly impressed. I mean, those moms don't even show up as willingly to the PTA anymore. So, I'm impressed. But yeah, they're rioting. I'm sorry, I'm hillbilly. Rioting. Now listen, if a growling dog had come in your yard and charged you, you would have dispatched it. If a water buffalo had charged you, you would have dispatched it. If a asteroid was coming to Earth, they would try to blow it out of bits. I'm beginning to think that either the people that keep voicing that they don't, they're utterly against ICE having to take lethal avenues to protect themselves, that they've never been in a position where they have had their life threatened in any way. Because if you can even imagine the scenario where lethal force may be necessary, then you can understand a capacity at some level for why someone may have to take that action, right? Right. So why are we only getting like 2 sentences? Like this whole collective, which they say is like the majority in the nation, they can only give us like two pointers, two sentences on the whole thing, and then they put them all on signs. And they go right around with their 2 sentences and their 2 collective thoughts on signs, but for some reason they're having this huge impact on our nation. That's what is said. But when you talk to them, you still get 2 collective thoughts and 2 sentences. They don't expound, go beyond, elaborate. And it seems like their thought conscious and pattern is quite limited. And therein lies the issue. When the goldfish can only remember 2 sentences, you get a lot of repeat information. And so I have deduced that it is the lesser capable intellect being pulled into this behavior. I have to think that. Otherwise, we would have great big discussions on, hey, we're listening to you. You've blocked intersections and gone after, hardworking people that are just trying to do a job to keep citizens safe. Let's sit down and have more than 2 minutes talk about this. And never. So I don't know. But that's what I'm deducing. Ashley says maybe they can do a flash mob. I know. Didn't Mitch McConnell take a picture with that just precariously had a newspaper in the background the other day? Didn't his family post one somewhere? Listen. If Turtle Man can't pop his head out of the shell and tell me he's okay, I don't want a picture. Really, honestly, a video I would probably question. I need the man in a long form, some kind of behavior showing me he's functioning at least 30% capacity. That may be stretching it for even at least 10% capacity. It's just come on now. Y'all have lied to us and made lying such a commonality that I am not about to just swallow anything. So I sit here and I'm curious. I'm not mad. I'm not going to react. But in my response, I'm going to say, put up or shut up. That's kind of where I am with our whole government system. They're just all being a bunch of grade A jackbutts. And I know that they have, probably at some core a stressful job, but you have to look at them and go, and at what level did you bring this upon yourself, sir? We aren't as stupid as you want us to be. Not at all. Matter of fact, I've been thinking about this whole Walmart keeping groceries crap because I've had a lot of people contact me and it's happened to them too. And I think maybe because all of the cashiers cannot be this stupid. Let's just be. They can't all be stupid. No child left behind. They can all be not as intelligent as one, but one task should get done: bags and cart. Right. So perhaps they are training us to be used to not receiving all our goods or having hiccups at the transaction. I guess maybe the self-checkouts were not causing enough hiccups because maybe a lot of us were more intelligent than they thought. I hated those things though. Every time I self-checked out, I thought someone doesn't have a job because they're making me do this. Where's my W-2? But anyway, maybe they're training us to be prepared when AI is doing the checkouts. No longer us at a self-checkout, but AI. And there will be a certain level of issues in the onset of the AI beginning their workforce with the Walton family, I'm sure. And so maybe they're just prepping us to kind of, we're going to be seasoned pros at handling these issues, and we're not going to revolt fully because we're going to be so used to it. That's kind of where my mind's thinking. Because listen, the data centers that they've got scheduled to build over the next few years, the cost to our nation is like $7 trillion. Our whole, like, what is it, GDP or something, is only 32 trillion. So they can't institute something that's going to cost $7 trillion when we're already in debt and only make that much, because it would counterbalance everything. So they have to find that money somewhere else, right? The only thing that comes even close, and it still is under half, is the entire workforce paid to work in our nation. And it's almost uncanny how the numbers will crunch out. Because at that rate of return on their investment, it would not put our nation really in a blunder. But let me tell you what I think will happen at that point. Of course, jobs will be a thing of the past. Probably everybody will end up on some kind of stipend, which is stupid. I think what they'll use as currency will be electricity, power. Like the generation of power. And water. I think those two things will become currency. Power and water. Because those will be the two most precious commodities required by everything, but also primarily by those data centers. And the thing that concerns me the most is that you look at power and water that is going to be funneled in these data centers, kind of removed from the human need market. But then you understand how you've been wired onto the cloud for all these years. And if you, what is it? What is that? Starts with a P. It's some kind of petabyte or something. Anyway, it's how much one DNA strand of information holds, and it's endless. And we all know that water holds memory. If you study archaeology, geology, you know that water holds memory. And the human body is like, what, 70+% water? And our DNA holds how much memory as well? So if electricity may be a currency and water, that could be also translated to be the human body. You will become the new dollar bill. Dollar bill, y'all. How does that make you feel? That my brain was thinking about that last night, and I was like, stop thinking, Elizabeth. Your brain's gonna implode. That made me worry. It made me think. Oh yeah, the way Mitch McConnell's fingers was holding that paper. Yeah, and that just kind of is weird. But it just makes you question everything. Like somebody could actually make a fake of that, and somebody would probably say it's more realistic than the picture if it was real in the first place. I don't know. I need a long form video of him completing tasks in real time with multiple markers in there to show me, time it is. This is one of those things. YouTube spits up these things to talk about, and it says add a Q&A sticker to your comment section. Ask them what their favorite childhood memory is. No, I'm not fishing for data so you can get everybody's information. Not like you can't just get in their brain and get it anyway. My God. If anybody else does content creation, which I don't really create content, I just fuss about everything. These add a question stickers and stuff like that are invasive. Stop it. Invasive. So anyway, I look at the world and I just kind of go, oh, we're doing that now? Okay. But I did watch a man that made a very good point the other day. And he was talking about he was doing compare and contrast with the sun and the moon. And he was like, you put stuff in the sunlight, it dehydrates. You put stuff in the moonlight, it putrefies. He was like, you put stuff in the sunlight and it gets hot. You put stuff in moonlight and it becomes colder than the shade under the moonlight, which is, you can do these scientific tests if you want to do it. And I had never really sat down and long-term thought about that until that piqued my interest. And so I start Google fanoogling on the interwebs. Oh, the hiccups. And one of the most searched, studied, and reported upon topics this year, and the last 3, to be quite honest, may have gone farther than that. I got kind of sidetracked. I kept going down a little side quest. Anyway, one of the most searched topics and researched, spoken about, just all over the internet was solar flares, basically electrical illnesses. Well, now. Notice how I lagged when I said that? So, is it possible that, everything from that book, The Invisible Rainbow, is absolutely true, which it does feel that way when I've read it. And they've known illnesses, symptoms, scenarios, pandemics. They know what causes them, much as our predecessors did hundreds of thousands of years ago. And they have just used it as like a psychological manipulation tool for years, decades, generations. So they know what's coming based on the pattern of the solar flares, because it will disrupt a lot of the magnetism and electricity on the planet. And in certain areas where it'll be strongest, there will be illness and outbreaks of things. It's definitely something that I stuck my nose in the rabbit hole far too long about the other night. And of course, like, none of this is new to y'all. If you follow Sabrina, none of this is new. But it certainly is interesting that it's becoming so prolific online now. Because it used to be that people had absolutely no knowledge about this, and not even minor knowledge about basically electric function within the body and the effects of, frequency waves and vibrations on the body. People just did not hold a lot of that knowledge. It seems like there was a gap there from about Well, look at the books we read about the late 17, early 1800s to present day. There was just a huge gap where medical stuff took a completely different turn. This chair, hang on, let me get twisted. This is what happens on my bad days. My body goes, um, but anyway, and perhaps it was twisted because they wanted to take it to a petroleum based medical place. Or perhaps they just wanted to be able to say that, we can discern this and you can't. Because it looks like it was kept for I don't know, I would call it a tax bracket marker, but I don't guess they had tax brackets really way back in the day. But like back in the day when only the wealthy or the priests were allowed to read. Back in the day when they had that, there was a fine you could get charged for wearing clothes out of your social strata. So, like if somebody had a ruff on, those big things that men wore around their necks, that was made for distinguished and wealthy men. If somebody of a poor class had placed a ruff on, they would have been fined and possibly charged with a crime and punished as well. And it was called like I don't know, it starts with an S. It was some kind of fine or tax. I'm going to say hi, but don't come in here being no turd because we didn't have to kick people out, y'all. I ain't playing. Be nice. But anyway, so, all through history, more than we want to be aware, we have segregated our population in so many ways. I mean, Dr. Seuss did not corner the market on this in any way. He just wrote about it in ways we could comprehend. Bless his heart, Lord love him. What are other ways that is pronounced? Oh, have y'all not heard of other wealth tier information groups? And it's funny because it kind of links back to the old time stuff as well. I don't know how we got off on this today. But I was talking about the church and the Vatican and how but they were only ones allowed to read, the wealthy and the church back in the day, the leaders of the church. Well, the priest, the Pope has always worn red shoes, and it says because it is waded through the blood of the martyrs and stuff before him. Symbology is always a favorite of the Catholic faith. So a lot of people would, look at the Pope, and a lot of people, I guess, probably do look at the Pope, and they don't think anything about those red shoes. Those red shoes have bothered me for a long, long time. I've been a curious person my entire life, but y'all know about the Red Shoe Club, right? Hello, Patty. Patty Betancourt, are you related to Nuno? Hi, Monica. Yeah, it's gonna be hot. From Arkansas, howdy neighbor. Okay, so we've got Monica's heard of the Red Shoe Club. So for those of you who have not heard of the Red Shoe Club, so for years and years and years and years and years and years and years in history, red shoes were only worn by the Pope. Certain colors were only worn by kings, monarchs, aristocrats, and red shoes were kept for basically the Pope and kings and stuff like that. Also, the dye for the shoes was also the same dye made from them sea snails that made purple and red and maroon. Those poor sea snails, they took down so many groups of people, and they were used in such horrible ways. It's like, you poor sea snails. Y'all didn't know. You didn't sign up for this. You just, bless your hearts. So, yeah, there's those sea snails we talked about again. If you look up red sea snails, Rome and Phoenicia, blow your mind. Anyway, So only the aristocrats could wear red. Oh Lord, I've got a hidden message. Should I worry? Yes, yes, Henry, yes. I can't show that though because I'll get in trouble. Yes, well, much like a lot of designer handbags are made out of alligator skin, these red shoes are said to be made out of another type of flesh. Um, and I think that Brahamovich lady would probably really like a pair. Does that give y'all enough links to get there? Um, that's kind of gloomy to think about, but you know, it has to be said. Okay, hang on. I gotta find my ridges here because I have to go back and do little braids now. So only the wealthy, the rich, the popes, oh, I forgot to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could wear red shoes. This is gonna take me a long time. This dog's gonna take me forever. So in today's markers, they say that is still true. Yeah, the Pope's still wearing red shoes, but now a lot of the people that come out with this statement are people that are normally in Hollywood. It wouldn't surprise me if Tom Hanks had a pair. He seems like a dapper Dan, stylish man in that regard. That's just my presumption there. Hello. Yes, Henry's dropping massive clues. Thank you, Henry. Well, did y'all notice what was it last year? That dress. Ow. I gotta hang now. That dress that Ariana Grande wore that had the red shoe on its back. It had a heel of a red shoe. The heel and the high heel of a red shoe sticking out of her back on her shoulder. I thought it was atrocious. It looked like she had like half morphed with somebody on the way to the awards. My dryer just made a sound. And the shoe was left stuck out of her skin. It really bothered me. And of course, when you've been as curious as I've been my whole life and you've read about these things, you're going to go, huh? Huh? Listen, I don't even like The Wizard of Oz because of the meaning behind a lot of it. Just, I can't get past the symbology there. So I guess I'm just a weird person. I don't know. But anyway, Ariana Grande came out wearing a red sequin dress that had a heel and a shoe coming out of her back. Now, a lot of people said, oh, she's in Wicked, and it's a hint, a nod to Oz, and blah, 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 blah. But if you listen, if I was in a position to where people were going to be looking at me, and there was even a hint that somebody could think it was about something else, I would not be putting myself in something like that. Would y'all? I would not. I twisted my yarn and Dad burned it, Elvis. There we go. I would not. I don't know how she got away with that without being like nobody really noticed until months after. I don't watch award shows the day of. I just kind of get it filtered through like news the next couple months because I don't really care. But that dress made me go, oh, really? Okay, really? Okay. You know, and she's openly said that she's went places and had her memories removed so she doesn't have to deal with sadness and trauma. She said some really weird crap. But what these red shoes now dictate, it is still wealth and aristocracy, but a lot of it, what it dictates is the people that are heavily, this is just my theory on it, heavily wealthy and able to kind of satellite around the transhumanism area in the world. They have the money to create the conflict, to do the testing. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? And so there, I look at when somebody's doing something like that to really kind of put them in a this little column over here that goes, give me an icky feeling. Why would they do that? Knowing the context, even if it's just a a connotation and not a full denotation kind of scenario. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Anyway, and then people's like, oh, it was just simple. It was just in reference to the Wizard of Oz. Have y'all paid attention to that movie? Okay, well, there are theories that it's based on the Federal Reserve. She's following the yellow brick road. She is the wealthy elite in her red shoes. She goes to the wizard for the scarecrow. She wants intelligence, but not real intelligence, just paper intelligence. The scarecrow is a straw man. It could be a straw man analogy. It's just all those things. The Tin Man, tax identification number. It's just there's a lot of things, but and some of them are out there. I agree, some of them are out there, but then a lot of them are like, well, yeah, there was no other reason to put that in there but to make an assumption or a link like that. And so now I look at things a little bit different. Henry, I think the human conscience when it decides to wake up for any reason and you have to sit with something that or things you have done and they're truly abhorrent, I'd say there are a lot of behaviors that would come out of that that we would not understand. But yeah, that's kind of always, I just kind of, yeah, it's very patronizing. And people are like, oh, that's just a made up work of fiction. There are made up works of fiction in our world that are all the time set up as the source point of other things. Movies and dramas become like life reference moments for some. They tell stories that the news no longer wishes to tell, or they're trying to subvert some other story in a way to further erode our moral standards here. Okay, Libby Cats, it's a heavy one today. I'm gonna try to lighten up. Yeah, it's just art. But like I asked the question, well, why would your brain go there? Because art imitates life. Because one has to come first, and art can't come first. You would have to have a knowledge of something to create. Like you couldn't paint a mountain if you'd never seen a mountain. You couldn't paint a tree, if you'd never seen a tree. So to paint something and say you know what it is, I did not count any of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Let's see. So I'm sitting here going, okay, well, there had to have been knowledge there for something to have been derived upon. So I'm sitting here going, I don't think that people can just sit down and pull a Picasso. I don't know. Picasso was kind of a weird, irritating, annoying, grimy old man. But I don't think people can. Forgive me, but I don't think Helen Keller could have painted a daffodil to save my life. So let's just say that there has to be something in the mind's eye to recreate or reimagine. So there has to be a premise, a point, almost like more of like a point of contact than anything instead of a point of reference. You have to have had some kind of knowledge to then transpose it into an art form and express it. So then you can start looking at art a different way. I've always looked at art a different way. All them people back in the old days making statues, listen, I now live in 2026, and we still have better things to do than carve weenies out of rocks. For the life of me, y'all. Oh, they were great artisans that spent probably 3 months carving a pecker out of granite. Does that sound like a great man to you? It sounds like somebody had a problem and a complex to me. That is not how I want to spend my day. Just saying. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's right, Henry. A lot of people, they do like to separate a lot of the moralistic good and evil out of the tech stuff. And I understand why, because it is 2 very different pathways. But I think one is not present without the other. Like, you don't have this moral decay and this invasive technology without people that have gone astray and no longer think that a human life, is a creation of God. So it's kind of like, chicken and the egg complex there, But again, it's point of reference. And it's like atheists will sit there and argue with you all day about if God is real. Why are you arguing, brother? If you don't think he's real, just shrug your shoulders and walk off. No weight to pay. Let me be deluded. It's okay. So a lot of people's behavior doesn't line up, And then they've got us, down to, a recipe for disaster. They know how to manipulate us and create different movements in societies and shifts in culture and interest, and it's kind of sickening. Do you know all those trends that they do on those platforms and crap? For it's just like that when people were doing Pokemon Go was Pokemon Go. That all they were doing, they weren't letting you play a game to win anything. You were basically mapping out. Oh, my yarn split. You were mapping out all the roads and routes for future delivery services. These digital drone drop delivery services that don't have a human brain. So they borrowed yours with Pokemon Go. They didn't tell you, oh, sorry. They told you to go in an alleyway at 3 a.m. to catch a rare monster. Jeff Bezos has got an imagination. What can we say? I don't know how I got off on that one either. Weird. 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope. Don't split on me again. Nope. This hair is going to be the death of me. Sabrina Dawn, this hair is going to be the death of me. This is rendition number 2, if y'all are concerned or want to know. Hang on, I got it. I know when I touch it, it goes crazy, but I got another message. Oh, I think I missed something. Yeah, it's become with the devaluation, oh gosh, my sides hurt. Yeah, my body is not having a good day. With the devaluation of human life, really that has happened in just a couple of generations, it has made it extremely clear to, these younger generations, something is afoot. So, maybe instead of seeing just a gain, a personal gain in something, they can look at it and see the collective loss for once, because certainly none of our generations did that, did they? Nope, they did not. Well, Elon Musk was on a show a year or so ago, and he was like, I'll save it for retirement after 2026 or 2027 is not going to be necessary. But he wouldn't expand upon that. But he said that people needed to learn to be humans before AI learned to be an overlord, or something to that regard. Those were not his exact words. They were much more precise. And y'all think we've lost that? we've lost that sprint, because it was not a marathon, it was a sprint. They lied. It wasn't a marathon, it was a sprint. We got there no time flat. No time flat. Oh, let me read it again. Hang on. Well, I'll give you a hint though. This isn't going to be her hair, but it's something she's requested that I make, and this is my second rendition. But it's because I've never done this type of hair before, so I'm trying to figure it out. But yeah, if I had to make Sabrina's, I would honestly probably brush all the yarn out and then like tease it to the heavens. Probably cut and shape it, and then use like got to be glued or something to shape it. Because I just don't think you could catch her curls and her volume any other way. Mine's flat today, y'all, and I got a giant cowlick right here. I do normally have a cowlick right here, but it is like praising Jesus on high today. So we're just gonna let it do its thing. It's got a nice little swoopty swoop to my bangs over here, so at least they're not like in my eye, they're going that way. I got hair in my eye the other day, and it got like under my eyelid and irritated my eye really bad, to the point where I was like freaking out, thinking I had pink eye there for a minute because it was hurting so bad, and then realized no, I had stuff under my eyelid I couldn't get out. Weird moment in my world. Hey, I miss those hairdos where you got to tease your hair up and use the Aquanet and White Rain and rave, and it didn't move for 3 days. I remember doing that in 6th grade. Listen, y'all, I was captain of the cheerleading squad in 6th grade. Now, granted, we were a tiny cheerleading squad at a tiny school, but we were effective. And I had really awesome hair when I was younger, to the point where I actually got seen. I've seen somewhere, I think it was a school event where we traveled and got contacted. And I guess the modeling agencies, when like high schools and stuff would have events, I guess they would send scouts out. I don't know really how that works. I've never been in the modeling agency, but I got contacted by a place that wanted me to be like a hair model, and I was like, no, I don't think so. I mean, I may still have those letters they sent, because I thought it was something worth keeping when I was younger. I don't know, they may still be in my photo album. But I didn't do it, because I thought, you'll see how I treat my hair, and you'll be like, no, can't do that anymore, because I was not very nice to my hair. It was just pretty hair. They say it's because I had a color that not many people had. And it's true because I can't get it. I can't make color any other color. I've got a natural copper color in my hair that's got a really harsh red. And I try to augment it and cover it, and nothing will. If I get in the sun, it still shines like a copper penny. I can't make it stop. To the point where, like, I won't touch my hair for a couple years, like literally not even get it cut. And my mom will be like, she'll see it from like not in a bun or something. She'll go, "Did you color your hair?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "It's a strange color." I know, Mom. It's a strange color. It is a strange color. What is rubbing my finger? Not a clue. I'm just having like sensory issues today or something. I don't know. Oh, I've got nail glue on my finger where I put my nails on. See, I didn't say I was smart because I was educated. Two very separate things, as you just saw. I miss those big hairdos, and I especially miss the barrettes where you pull the front half of your hair up, and then you've got the fan bangs and the big. Oh, I love those hairdos, man. Wish they'd come back. There was something fun about that. I don't know what it was. Although when I was in 6th and 7th grade, I would literally want to cry if my hair didn't do the right thing. Now I lost, like I bought into that really hard in 6th and 7th grade when you got into middle school. And then by 8th grade, I was back to boots and no makeup and catching the ringneck snakes at recess and freaking my teacher out. So I didn't stay there very long because it was a lot of work. But I did love the hairdos. A lot of work though. A lot of freaking work. I have a few that are coming in, but not many. Like I have a few right here and like right here. But I have way less gray than I ever thought I would. And these kind of bother me, and I would try to color them, but because I have such a red cast to my hair, if I try to color them to match the rest of my hair, then these glow fluorescent orange, and it bothers me. So I'm just going to leave them. It took me almost 50 years to grow them, so I guess I should just be thankful for them. I'm just going to keep them. But literally, if I try to color them to match the rest of my hair, it shines like a danger cone. And I don't want to look like that. I had hair down to my butt, and Mom let me cut it up to like shoulder blades for kindergarten. And then she let me cut it shorter because I kept coming home with Elmer's glue and mashed potatoes and God knows what else. It's just, listen, that long hair is hard to deal with. And my daughter's got the same long hair. She did cut it shorter because with the twins and all that stuff, she's like, I'm just cramped for time and my hair is just, I'm sorry. And I was like, honey, but I had super long hair, and every time I try to grow it out, I get horrible migraines. So I've stopped. You know, I used to be quite attached to my hair. It's kind of something that's taught, especially if you're native. But I'm not attached anymore because it causes me migraines. You know, that shouldn't feel like, I've done like 100 and something, 200 chains before, and those like 15, 16 feel like an eternity. I did. I come home with mashed potatoes from lunch and Elmer's glue, and Mom was like, "What in the world?" And I was like, "We had mashed potatoes at school today." I wasn't throwing food. I probably just spun my head around and it landed in my tray because it was just so long. So I have pictures somewhere. But my hair was, Mom did try to always keep it up or braid it or something. I still have my first haircut in my photo book. I need to drag that thing out and show you. Show you how freaking cute I was. I was the cutest kid. Yeah, dumb. And that little round face and that little pointed chin. I was the cutest little kid. I was cute. Didn't know I was going to turn into a Cape Buffalo in my older years. I was a cute kid. But I always had my hair in like little ponytail buns or something like that when I was little. I had a lot of hair. My daughter still has a lot of hair, but she has cut it shorter since the twins because she's just, bless her heart, she's busy. She busy times two. I feel for her a lot. Oh, while I'm on here, and I've got a few weapons on here. Okay, hang on. What damage does the battlefield? Henry, I tell you what, it's too much effort to color my hair. But I can't, because even if I try to, like, just cover my little wings of gray right here, they glow fluorescent orange. I look like a traffic cone. And it's because I have to put a color to match the red in mine naturally. And so, but it's because it's gray right here, it just glows. And I don't have a lot. You can't really tell it if I don't have it up in certain ways. So I'm not going to worry about it. Now I've got hair in my face because I cut wispy layers a few weeks ago when I was at the salon. I got one hair in my eyeball now. How does that occur? Okay. Ugh, that was irritating. See why I don't have long hair? That irritated me to death. Right there. That was it. Now I would spend 10 hours fixing my horse's hair and detangling and French braiding and banding and, you know, those little jumper braids, you know, dressage hairdos and stuff. But it was just too much to expect me to do anything to mine. I kept a shaggy bob all through high school. It barely whisked my shoulders just long enough for me to tie back if I needed to put it in a ball cap or something. I was not interested in anything, any amount of energy to, you know. But I would say it probably does. I mean, with the metals and stuff that are in hair dyes, it probably does do something to the biofield. I'd give up on it. That's one thing I've learned, Henry, is don't wash your hair too much. So I've turned into like my granny and I have hair washing days. I do. And a lot of that started because of my health. And when I was really bad sick and I was in a really bad place with that neuromuscular disorder, I didn't have always the capability. Like I had longer hair then. So, you know, we would do a lot of braids, a lot of protective styling. But then I realized my hair was a lot healthier when I only washed it so many times, you know. And so that's what I do now. And I use a lot of castor oil shampoo bars, and I'm a lazy I'm a lazy hair person. I have to pull my yarn. I've got it in a bag that holds 4 skeins, and they each have a top tube hole, and it makes them come out. If you get it in the middle, makes them come out of the bag, and they never knot. But you have to pull it out every once in a while. So if you see me do that, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I use a lot of castor oil shampoo, and I love it. My hair does fantastic on castor oil shampoos. I mean, ladies, it's just amazing. I've tried the rice water stuff, but listen, the castor oil shampoo bars, oh my gosh, they're where it's at for your hair. That's what I use to bring mine back from like almost near death with my thyroid issues over the last couple years. Mine only looks really flat today because I washed it last night, last night, last night. So it's looking kind of flat because it's not. I whipped it. I scrubbed it really good with the castor oil. The castor oil kind of tames it for a day or two, and then it will go back to its unruly self in a couple of days. Yeah, now my dad has got a really sensitive scalp, and he has to be very careful about what he uses. And you know, and your scalp can tell you a lot about your health, an awful lot. But I've always had really healthy hair until I went through that thyroid. And y'all watched my hair thin dramatically during that thyroid event. It bothered me more than I thought it would. Honestly, I've had days where I thought about shaving my head just for the sheer simplicity of it all. But when I was faced with actually losing my hair, it bothered me. Like, I did not think I was able to be bothered that way. I am. Um, but it's bounced back. Y'all see it when I have to keep cutting it because it wants to grow really fast now and get really thick and be really heavy. So still, we're doing a lot better. Yeah, if you can afford the incandescent bulbs, yeah, it's much better for your eyeballs. I mean, this whole world of optogenetics is just it's very irritating, annoying, degrading. I mean, tell me that you want absolute dominion and power and authority without telling me. Well, I'm going to show you specific colors, hues, and light, and specific frequencies and pulsations to make your body react so I can be in control. Thank you. Thank you. What would I do without you? Anyway, get back. We're going to do a kiss your back here. Get back to the shoes. If you have never heard of the Red Shoe Club, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, go look it up, and then kind of get curious and go red shoes through history. The color red, aristocracy in the color red. Um, mm, it, mm, it makes and it was the thing back then. There are records that, when they started recording stuff, they stated as much. They told you exactly why they were wearing the shoes. We're powerful. We're the elite. We make the laws. You do not infringe upon us because when we walk, you bow. They just put it on paper. They didn't care. Them and them red shoes. Now it's much more cerebral. They want to place the suggestion and let your brain run wild. Don't let your brain run wild. Be curious, but don't be curious in a fearful way. Be curious in a I need to know this, so that I can make an informed decision going forward kind of way. I think a lot of people overreact about a lot of things. Like the whole alien debacle. No one has still knocked on my door, and I'm still not worried about it. Everybody was trying to post pictures of a shelf cloud in my city the other day. And this is terrifying. And I was like, and that didn't occur because my fat butt was outside almost the whole day that day, and never done it. And finally, the guy was like, yeah, I create these images, and I was like, you're a little turd. I mean, if you want to make art, but tell people it's art. You was scaring the Meemaws to death in this poor little town. Wasn't no reason for that. And if he'd said, this is my interpretation of the weather the last few days, I'd said, sir, that was very pretty. But because he was trying to scare everybody, I was like, not cool, dude. Not cool at all. Oh, I think I made a mislick somewhere. Well, something, we're going to make it a happy accident and we're going to roll with it. Maybe. Possibly. Pray tell. Can we? Yes. Okay. I can. And this might not even, when I get it might not even be enough. I have to do 3 more layers. So I'm going to be here a while. Crochet, they said. It's relaxing, they said. 3, 4. I count my life away. 6, 8, 9, 10. Y'all think I don't? 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. David was sitting here watching, he was harvesting his wheat on YouTube the other night. Y'all know he likes to watch those wheat harvesting stuff. And I sit here crocheting, and I was counting, like, and he was like, you have counted to 58 14 times. I know, and I got 3 more rounds. Just gonna have to hear it 3 more times. I'm sorry. Those Booma dolls have so many thousands of stitches. If I had a penny for every time I counted, I would be making good money. I really, really, well, no, don't give me pennies anymore. Then you can't use them. Give me nickels, then I'll be rich. But Lord, y'all, I've been crocheting my little life away lately. And oh, that's another thing I need to talk about. I opened up on Etsy one more ad for one more Booma doll. It says a hippie Booma, but you can tell me if you want a regular or a hippie. That's fine. Because I'm working on the last of the other order. I've got the other one to mail tomorrow. That opens me up to make one more biscuits and one more Booma. I've got the biscuits possibly already claimed. So I put the one Booma ad up on the Etsy store, which is Hillbilly Heart Decor. If you want a Booma or a Booma made, go and purchase it. And then I have like 7 to 10 days to make it and get it shipped out to you. And I wait to make them when you order them because I'll ask you, do you have a preference about color schemes? What color do you want the cat? I have these colors. Do you have a specific eye color for the cat if I have a specific eye color? You know, I try to kind of make it your own as much as I can. And so that's why I don't make them until y'all order them. Me and Monica had fun with Monica's, and I left some Easter eggs on Monica's. And I'm really I was going to mail them this morning until we had the plumbing fiasco at 3 a.m. Nothing can ever happen during normal hours in my house. I had to wake David up at 3:12, and I felt really bad about it. And then I didn't because I tried to wake him up 3 times, and he literally like shrugged me off. And I was like, "Get up! The toilet is making noises I ain't never heard before." Because I knew if I just turned the water off and went back to bed, I'd forget to talk to him about it before he left for work. And then I would not know how to fix it. And he would be at work and not know what was going on. So I got him up at 3:12 and made him check out the toilet. I'm sorry, I did it. So he's in a grumpy mood, but I let him drive my Jeep so he could run around in comfort after work to get everything he needed to fix the toilet. See, I'm nice. Sometimes. When I can be. But it put me a day later than I wanted to be mailing Monica stuff out. I really do. When I make it, I want to get it to him pretty quick. And I had to kind of like get him and squish him in the box. And I know he's not happy with me, so I really want him to get there fairly quickly. But now he is secure. He's not going to be jostled, jarred, or hurt unless they just step on this box because he is secure. And he's just hanging on to his kitty cat life. So, but I put some Easter eggs. If Monica gets daring. That she can find. See, every time I do this different. Well, I use like the same base pattern, but I have it like the dolls pick out their own little vibes. And then I learn certain tricks along the way, or I'll be watching a different tutorial and learn a new way to, you know, create the foot shape, or hands for $60, guys. Hands are just not going to happen a whole lot because they require that tiny minuscule hook, and my eyesight cannot do that anymore unless I'm like, the reward has to be more than what I'm getting for the dolls. So we're not going to be doing really nice hands. But I left some Easter eggs for Monica on her so she could find stuff she didn't ask for, but I knew that if she found them, it would make her giggle. So, and every time I do, when I do something, there's like a different little layer because I've had time to think about it, or I've learned a new trick. And then I'm like, well, doggone it, I wish I'd known that for the other doll. And then, then I feel bad. But listen, y'all get me where I'm at. You get the skills when you buy, and I'm doing my best. But I do try to make them fun, and I do think about making him smile. And Monica's got a really playful energy about her, kind of like Charlie. And so I knew that Monica could handle my little Easter eggs that I left for her to find. I mean, they're not obscene. They're just funny. Lordy Bill. But yeah, it was fun. He was fun to make. I had to make him and another one at the same time, so it took me twice as long. Oh, Okay. That would be so fun, Monica. That would be fun to get like a first impact, because he's in there holding that cat like, and because like I always tape like all the seams on my boxes and stuff, but where it's been super wet here lately, I like taped. I knew I was going to run out of tape, and I know where another roll is, but it was late when I boxed him, and I like put half his body in a Ziploc, and then I was like taping that box for dear life so that he would stay dry, because it's been super wet here everywhere. So he might look a little weird when you open him up, but it would be nice to see the first view. And like when you open the box, there's tissue paper that you'll have to remove to see him. So they would give you a good opportunity to do a first impact. Ugh, I keep rotating this and absolutely messing up the way my hair's going. So anyway, but after one more Booma, and I've got a biscuits possibly in contract, and then I placed one Booma make on Etsy. After that, David's got fall markets coming up, and so I need to gear back toward a few gaps I need to fill in the fall market stuff for him. And so it may be closer to Christmas or just after, before I can really get back to really making them on the regular. So if like you want one now, you better go grab it, because I'm fixing to have to divert my brain to market mode. And I've got two what do they call them? Custom orders to do. Now I do also have a custom order on David's Etsy, and it's for like up to a medium-sized plushie, not a large. It's moderately priced, and it's a good price for, up to the size I'm willing to do. If you've seen a pattern or you want something out of my brain, then you can go and just do a custom make order and send a message about what you want, and we'll figure it out. David is in the process of sending everything to Whatnot for related stuff, but I think he's going to leave the Etsy store for some of the hunting memorabilia, and crochet, and and basically to have a communication tool for a lot of our past customers, because he's like, I don't want to lose everybody. And I was like, I understand. So that's his mode of thinking there, which is probably a good mode of thinking. But he's in the process of getting his store and everything set up on Whatnot and getting in the swing of Whatnot Lives. He had to rush off the last Whatnot Live because the cows got out at the farm that he traps on. We've had cows get out twice in the last little bit, but on different farms. He had to rush off and help them get the cows back in. It wasn't his fault or nothing. They just called and asked him to help because he knew the land. And he didn't get back in time, so I did the last show, and he did way better than I did, because then one of my cameras, or my tablet wouldn't work, and it wouldn't let me pull up items, and I had to use my phone, and then it wouldn't stay in the tripod, so I had to. It was a mess, but I got through it. And laughed at myself. But his schedule with work and stuff, because he goes in super early, and then he comes home and works in the first shift super late. It's just really hard for him to do a lot of extra. And so he's trying to do them at least once or twice a month so that people get to know him. But he does have a store start on Whatnot. I don't believe he's got very much in it yet, but he's got a store started. Of course, he won't put a whole lot in it till after the market season's coming up. So, but let me scooch down. Charlie's gallery cracks me up. I saw some of it. The one where she's putting him in bed and he's got the Care Bear with him. That one cracked me up. And the little lantern. I had to show my husband that one. Oh, my husband came in from the first shed last night when I was sitting here crocheting and watching Boomer, and he looked at the TV and he goes, biscuits, and then just walked down the hallway, going to the bathroom. And I thought, wow, if my husband, if he can identify you without me saying anything, I told Biscuits he'd made it. So that just struck me funny because Dave normally, and I'll sit here and watch stuff with him in the chair next to me, and he'll just be focused on something else or asleep. But I think, surely he'll understand, follow the storyline or something. He'll have not a clue. So the fact that he knew who Biscuits was cracked me up. I've been watching the season 1 of Jamestown on Prime Video. It's got more than one season, but I can only get the first season for free on Prime. I have seen the whole thing, in PBS has got it if you have PBS. I think BritBox and PBS both have it. It's a really good little miniseries about, the first colonies, and I think it's a pretty good portrayal, probably a lot of what was going on. Boy, there's gonna be some wild hair. And I do enjoy how they formed the characters over time and enhanced them, and kind of you got bonded with them, almost trauma bonded. I mean, it's rough living in a colony in the New World. But it's a good. I like it. So I was watching it thinking, oh, he's watching it too. No, I don't know what he was doing. He wasn't paying attention. Because he sat down the other night and I was like, do you want to watch another episode of that Jamestown? He goes, what's that? And I said, the Colony miniseries we've been watching the last few evenings when I've been crocheting and you've been sitting here. He goes, we've been watching it. And I said, yes. He goes, I thought we was watching that lawn care juggernaut dude, Kevin Hansen. I adore him. And I said, not for almost a week, David. We've been watching an episode of this Jamestown Colony thing. He goes, no recollection. How does that happen? How does that occur? Hey, listen, you got delivery. He'll have his tracking on him and stuff. But if something happens to him in the way, I'll make another one. If I'll make him, I'll make another one. Tomorrow's Thursday, right? Is tomorrow Thursday? Yeah, tomorrow's Thursday. Yeah. Right. I should be home. I should be home. I know David's brother's coming by to mow this evening. But I gave David my Jeep, so I'm immobile at the moment. I ain't driving his tractor. I could, but I just feel like I'm in a sardine can and I just can't. I could if there's an emergency, but I just don't want to. And but tomorrow I do have to, do some errands. But yeah, I have limited errand days. Like I do spurts, either a morning spurt or an evening spurt, because I can't listen. I have to rest in between, normally nap in between if I have to do very much in one day, because this thyroid crap's about to get me, y'all. I'm on, I had to go back on that medicine, but at a different dose. But it's a very small dose. I seem to be doing better with it. Oh, I've never heard those names, Henry, so I don't know. Surely I would have heard them if they had some kind of corroboration. Now, I will say that and I don't do it for I don't consume TikTok because I enjoy it. I do it because I want to see if they're going to say something normally negative about Sabrina, they'll put it on TikTok first. I don't know if it's like a test the water scenario. I don't know, but I monitor TikTok for content about her because that's normally where the idiots show up first with the big sagas that are 10 videos long that draw you in that are completely full of crap. So I monitor TikTok and I do a reversal. I do anybody that may be using her subject matter or talking about her. And I've not heard in any of those names together. I'll ask her. I twisted my yarn again. Chubby Checkers was wrong. We do not want to twist again like we did last summer. Stop it. Stop it. The last few days I've been watching Dana Crochet and Crumpets. And like me and this one have absolutely nothing in common besides that we crochet. But for some reason, when she gets on one of her little funny spurts, it cracks me up. Like, I could be around her and tolerate her because of her sarcasm and little funny remarks she makes about herself. But, like, when it comes to, like, the code we both live by, we are not on the same page at all. But she makes me giggle sometimes, so I will watch her crochet videos. I don't like watch her life vlogs or anything like that, but I will watch her crochet videos. And last night, somehow, I clicked on one of her other channel videos where she was putting together a huge, like, how do you say that? Armoire cabinet. And she had to do it by herself, and she was having to get really creative also because she's single. And she did not take herself too seriously during that whole thing. It cracked me up. So I watched that one, but I really don't like a lot of her life vlogs. I like the crochet vlogs because she crochets super fast, and she has a very quick mind. She comes up with patterns really quick, and I like to watch her mode of thinking. I really need to start writing down what I do, and because I do a lot of things that I don't follow a pattern on. I just sit down and make it, and I need to probably make my own patterns. This is gonna be a head of hair. A head of hair. Here, you know where you can send messages through here now. As I point fictitiously to the top of my page, can you like copy paste that and send it to me in a message? Because it'll take this chat like 3 days to load for me to watch it and pull it back up. If you will send that to me in a message, I will look at them this evening. Because that does pique my curiosity. I will look at it. Thank you. So anyway, we've talked about the Red Shoe Club, talked about the Vatican. Oh, and also, the solar flares, and possibly, science knows that it's, oh crap, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Science knows that it's electromagnetically has something to do with, the celestial sky and the pull of the sun and moon and all the fields and stuff like that. And maybe they're using that to predict or preempt certain illnesses, maybe to use them to kind of try to emotionally regulate or emotionally dysregulate society. I would say dysregulate, but that's just my view. And it kind of makes me also think back to, well, who is the biggest owner of observatories in the world in history? The Vatican. Well, why would they need to be? And then you kind of start linking all this together and like, oh, because certain things are supposed to be done at certain times of the year when certain things are in alignment. And you can only know that if you have an observatory and the ability to map that puppy out, which when you visit the Vatican, you walk all over the maps. And you could call them maps, sigils, you could call them, I don't know, some people might call them spells, but they're not really spells. Well, I guess they could be. Anyway, and then you throw red shoes in the mix. And it just be just kind of go, oh, it doesn't give you a good feeling, and you don't leave that thought process with a good viewpoint on historically people that have been decreed worthy of red shoes. And then you kind of look at the behavior of the people now that are said to be rocking the red shoes, and you look at the parties with the food that looks eerily like a Mick, you and me. It just makes you wonder. It just makes you wonder. Margaret! Reddit is like one of those places that you can go to, and here's the thing: you can find some really smart people, or you can find some really stupid people, but you'll never find like middle of the line people. That bothers me. That bothers me because I know if I invest in even one paragraph, it's either going to be really enlightening or really a waste of my time. And sometimes I like to gamble like that. Here's a thought process for you talking about Reddit. Reddit dictates a lot of the new age social norms and construct that we're moving into because it's a little suggestive / subjective social movement area. So people will go there and divulge their thought processes and their wishes and desires for the world to reflect in this manner. And then they'll band together and they'll like try to make it so. And in my capacity as a Reddit stalker, I don't post on Reddit. I have noticed, this is just me, when something has really taken somebody's interest to the point where it becomes a thread on Reddit, it mirrors the people that talk about it. It's either a very big event that's going to affect us or the stupidest thing you've ever read about. It's never just a moderate important thing. But then I take stock of the news stories that I see on Reddit that also are cross posted on the real news, and it's kind of scary to see the ones that make the real news when you know there's way more to choose from because you see it everywhere else. And when you start looking at the things that you know is happening in the world from all the different forums you can get on, and then the things that like the forums that are dictating the new social norms, like, you know, this Reddit and YouTube and, you know, and then the news, it's really, really, really apparent that the median group, I cannot talk today, the median majority of society that falls in the cluster of like 25, you know, to 75%, and then you got your wackadoodles on either side. You can see that that group in the middle is completely restricted, if not, I was going to say enslaved, but that's not the subjugated. It completely subjugated in their life in everything they do, and their ability to function in the world around them and interact with the world. They're completely subjugated by these small percentages on the cusp either way. So at any time in our life, the world is either dictated by the smartest 10-20% or the stupidest 10-20%. Never at the same time. One or the other. Where do you think we've been the last few decades? Because the median group do not get to dictate. It's always a special interest, loud, and the antagonizing, entertaining, annoying stories that cause the flash mob protest. It's those that are dictating our world right now. It's not the normal things that affect the predominant group of people in the middle that are just trying to lead life. It's these polarized and out there on the edge of things groups that really radicalize. And they either really radicalize because they're really smart or they're really stupid. But they kind of do the same thing. If they're really smart and they become radical, then they normally trip themselves up and they defeat their own purpose. And if they're really stupid and they're radical, they never get anything accomplished. So fruition never becomes a thing with either group. But at any time in your life, you're being dictated because you fall in this normal measurement in the middle of people that are not going to do outlandish things that affect society. So you're here, but you're completely subjugated. You're completely beholden to the wackadoodles on either side of you that are the smallest percentage that do absolutely nothing useful and only shape society in ways that it is more of a scarification attempt than a peaceful, passive progression into the future. And I wonder if they ever look at it like that. I do a lot. But another message. Henry, you don't bug me. I don't tease me. Hi, Tuber Chat. Tuber Chat gave me a free membership the other day. Thank you, Tuber Chat. It is. It's very much a choreographed, ugly dance into a new world that probably nobody really wants to be in. It is. And it always bothers me that, symbology is used in so many, things, ways, groups. But the people that seem to say that there's nothing to Christianity sure do grab the Christian symbology first to try to mire it up in something else. And I'm sitting here going, you'd only be emotionally angered to act in that way if you did believe there was something to it. So I'm no longer buying this. I don't believe anything you say act. Because if you didn't, I would not even be a bother in your mind. You would not even think about it twice. It's like ants in your kitchen. You don't think about them till they're there, So I sit back and, they're doing these protests and screaming, I don't believe in your God. And I'm like, well, if you didn't, you probably wouldn't be screaming about it. So you got some work to do on you, honey. But they get so angry, and then they will like hijack and try to ridicule and really muck it up for everybody, and they say it's it's art or it's their freedom to do so. And you're on a Zoom call where they don't have their camera on at work, and you're just going by a name and it's an androgynous name, and you might say he or she. They want to be called they or it. And then next thing you know, you're in the HR department because you misgendered somebody when you was just going off the name because the camera was only on an audio Zoom. There was no camera. And I've sat and watched offices go through this, and it's just like, what the crap? And I'm like, we're losing so much money at these corporations having to cater to these people that are so concerned. Listen, I worked my butt off in a very high-stress job for many years, and never once did my biological makeup or someone's response to it affect me in any way. And I'm a burly woman, so I got some jokes my way sometimes. I do have big old shoulders. I am built like a golf tee. I look more like a brick now in my older age, though. But like, it never bothered me because I'm not responsible for your perception of me. You know, I'm responsible for how I interact with the world and handle myself. But if you choose to really, project something in your mind, I can't stop you. And I'm not going to go to HR and tell on you like a child. And I want you to get in there and fix his brain. He doesn't know who I am. He sees me as a fat woman, and tell him I'm a size 2. That would be the easiest diet in the world, wouldn't it? HR dictating your pant size. Be like Mariah Carey. We'll all be sewing fictitious numbers in her bridges. When she would buy clothes, this was like written in a magazine article about her. When she would buy clothes, when she was getting heftier in her older days, which she's a beautiful woman. I don't know why she'd worry about it. She's still very stylish, very pretty. She would have people sew in labels that had smaller numbers on them. It's still a lie. How does that make it any better? I don't know. I don't live in that world. I didn't get it then. I don't get it now. I have an idea that I wouldn't get a lot about Mariah Carey, though. I don't think we would run in the same circles, But yeah, gosh, we've covered Mariah Carey, the Red Shoe Club, the Vatican, observatories, the moon and the sun and the pull on the earth and the electromagnetic electric illnesses that perhaps have been a theory, but maybe more of a theorem and working knowledge than we possibly think as a society. So, gosh, we talked about a lot today. Woo! Big talk. And here I have been just making this crazy hair the whole time. Hey, listen, how long I've been talking? I've still yet to get around the first round. I'm only halfway around the first round. I've got 3 more to go. I do get to skip some in the other 3 rounds, though. So that will help my patience and tolerance a little bit. This is a big job. This is just her wig, her hair that goes on. This is a big deal. That's okay. I'm building skills. I don't know when this one will come in really handy, but I'm building skills, by golly. I'm doing important crap. Making people smile with dolls. Important. I appreciate you stopping in. Never feel like you have to sit here and listen to me. You can always just come and listen to it, or just be like, I'm done for you. I'm done with you today, woman. You need to shut up. I get it. I get it. I say it to myself some days. Shut up, Elizabeth. You're done. Tightrope walker. Good description, Margaret. Oh gosh, my kids did not get phones until they were basically adults. But I was so terrified that somebody would use them against my children, or to contact my children, or to stalk my, because people in prison. I dealt with people coming out of prison or being put back in prison. So my kids didn't really get phones until they became adults, so they could get their own, because I didn't want them to have them. And I was irritated that the school expected kids to be able to get on the flipping internet all the time for work, because I didn't particularly care for that. But now I've got this router box on my wall that can basically use frequency and sonar to map out living bodies in my home and learn pattern behavior, and tell the phone company, God, Jesus, the government, and everybody, when I have people in my home, what's the pattern of behavior to people coming to my home, roughly how many show up and when, where, and why. And but if power goes out for a half a second, it has to reset. If you're gonna put all the emphasis on the spy game, y'all, you could just put a little bit of the emphasis on functionality. Okay, I'm just saying. Be nice. Make it work just a little bit better. Be nice. You're mucking it up now. If I'm going to get surveilled, the least I can do is be able to watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer comfortably in my home while I'm being surveilled without hiccups. So get on that, okay? Well, yeah, we are making it in a maze, Henry. That's why I tell people, like with the flock cameras, everybody's trying to tear them down. There's no sensibility to that. It's not going to work. They'll just show back up. They'll just replace them. What you need to do is become intensely curious about how they function, how they were brought into the conversation to even become part of our society, a norm. When you pay the money, did you know it goes to a foreign guy? All the information and data has to be requested during a metadata request. So the foreign guy holds all the video of our nation, and all these cameras go across our entire nation. So he literally can get all this info and intel at any time and derive all of these important patterns and flows of information about our nation. But if we want to know what happened to go into a court case, we have to contact the foreigner and ask him to release the metadata to our court systems. It's not our data, even though it's in our country monitoring our citizens. And when you pay, he forces you to pay in certain ways, even though it says that our nation, in any kind of judicial decree and fine, that it would accept any type. YouTube just wanted to reconnect me. Yes, well, let's just rewind there and talk about that. So when you're paying the foreign guy who has all the flock cameras for like fines and tickets, and you have part of that as a payment to him because it was his camera that found you guilty, you can't pay him with all forms of U.S. currency, which is wrong in our judicial realm. We're supposed to take any form of currency in the land. But he won't, because he doesn't want to pay the exchange rate on certain payments, so he only accepts certain types of payments. So like people that are old school, like my in-laws that want to go get a money order, is nope. He won't accept that. I really find that funny. I find it funny that YouTube wanted to logged me out almost to make me reconnect at that time too. So become curious. Don't get mad and attack something physically. They're just going to put you in the cool tank, and you're going to be useless. You have rendered yourself useless. Go out there and find this information. Who has this material? Who owns this material? How could they mismanage it? How did it become a norm? And how do we impede this from occurring at an even higher level in the future? We have got to become so intensely curious that we see the patterns so that we can become predictive in our own games, because they're way ahead of us, guys. We got to get around the curve on this one. We've got to get better at it. And we're not going to get better at it by becoming angry and doing physically stupid stuff that puts us in the pokey. We have got to become intelligent and informed, and our critical thinking and deductive reasoning has got to improve in so many ways, so many levels, so many times over. It's sad. But a lot of people were mad about the flock cameras just because they thought they were invasive. They are. But if you just got angry because you thought they were invasive and did something stupid and let it stop there, you have no information to share with anyone else to help them understand why they should be concerned. But if you had said, I don't like those, I think they're invasive, let me just see how invasive they are, and you had gone 2 or 3 questions on down the rabbit hole, you would have probably found out, oh, this is much bigger than me. Well, any kind of physical retaliation, I'm going to be punished for, and it's not going to be, this is so big, it's not going to be useful. So I just need to educate myself and educate others. So that's it. That's it. And why that's so hard for people, I don't know. But it is. It's really hard for people. I don't know why, but it is. Ecclesiastes is probably one of the most important books, along with Daniel. Daniel's a really important book because it kind of parallels with Revelation. And a lot of people just want to skip right over it. A fancy, no, it's a doll wig. It does look like a spider. I guess you probably could turn it into like a Halloween pattern and just reduce the number of legs. It's taking me some time, y'all. I'm inspiring. I don't know. I don't think I'm inspiring. I think. I'm just going to be quiet. I'll just be honest with you. My entire life growing up, the one animal that I have disliked but respected my entire life has been a flipping mule. Draft mule, as long as it's got mule in there. Why? My grandpa loved mules. I did not always love mules because I was a mischievous little girl on the farm. And Grandpa loved his mules. And so when I, the mischievous girl on the farm, would be mischievous with his mules, the mules would correct me. Much like if I was a weanling coat that they needed to correct. A mule you can have for decades and never know their entire personality. Never know quite how they think. They're so different than horses. And of course, they maintain their value because most mules are sterile. So you have to get a mule by crossing a jack and a mare. And grandpas were so smart. And I've had to work with mules off and on all my life. Because undoubtedly, everywhere I had them, they would either have a mule, a jennet, a jack, something in that category that I would have to deal with. Those animals, you could never prod or push or force into anything. They stood still until they were prepared and aware that that's the direction they wanted to go. If you treated them bad once, they remembered. And their demeanor changed when you came around. So one that had its ears up and was happy with one groom coming around it, when the other one that had been mean to it coming around it would sit back, put its ears back, and squint its eyes and kind of lean. And you know that mule, something has happened. That mule does not like that man. Horses are really forgiving and kind of stupid. They'll kind of roll with anything. Mules do not forget. Um, Mules know the pattern of the barn. They know when things are out of sync. They'll tell you when things are wrong before anything else in the barn will. That's why jacks are great in pastures as alarm dogs. And they'll kill coyotes. They'll chase anything that threatens them out of their pasture, no matter how big it appears to be or is. They will go after it. They will go after it in full force. And you never can really second guess a mule. You don't know what to expect, but you know what you get is going to be an honest reaction and have a foundation behind it. And so my entire life, and there are great minds that I've read and looked up to, but honestly, I strive to be like a mule. I don't want you to understand me completely because then I've lost a little bit of my element of surprise. I want you to know that I'm going to remember, and my respect to you is based on your respect to me. And I will tell you if I'm unhappy with you. And I will not be moved until I'm prepared to be moved. And I'm like, I just want to be a mule. It's my whole goal in life, to be a mule. Maybe I need to crochet a mule. Kind of busy right now though, that I have to wait. I need to shut up. We've been talking for a while. Anyway, I'll end on me wanting to be a mule. That's a good one for y'all to take home and chew on. But like I said earlier, I'm fixing to have to go into, I love y'all's conversations. Y'all have some of the best conversations in here. I always do go back when the live chat reloads to the video. It takes like 3 days or so. I go back and watch the live chat, so I make sure I catch everyone's responses because it's hard when I'm about half blind to doing this. Jenny's Jack's. Well, that's normally half of the mule there, so it's half the genetic pool, and they're just smart animals. They're smarter than us. Sal has a missing kitten. Well, I hope it comes back. Yeah, some horses will react, but as a whole, horses are really forgiving. And I've worked with so many that I've gotten through. I've gotten horses out of the glue pen at the sale lot, the livestock stockyard. And you have to really earn that trust back. And then they will eventually give in and like start a whole new existence. I've never seen a mule do that. A mule that you buy secondhand will come with all of that knowledge and trauma, and it will never be changed. And whatever the previous owner was guilty of, you'll also be guilty of until you prove yourself that you are not going to do that. So they're just a whole different creature. And they just look at the world and they go, yeah, you might think I'm stupid, but I'm the stupid thing that you're going to spend hours at trying to understand. So it's really my game. I want to be like a mule. I really do respect them. Never personally cared for them. Never wanted to own one. Always ended up having to deal with one somewhere, somehow. But I really do understand like the logic and necessity of them and why people do desire to have them. They are very reliable. They get the job done. And they can set stuff aside and go to work. But they'll bring it back up when they're ready to do it. And you won't know when that is. The mule dictates that. Is a horse, yeah. A zebra horse. They're pretty. Now, most horses, they're very forgiving. That's why I said they're really easy if they change owners. If they've had a history with another owner that wasn't good, they'll kind of turn the page and start a new existence with their new owner. They're really forgiving. They're really a mule is not. I mean, they'll go to work and they'll do what they're trained to do and stuff, but they'll hang on and they'll wait. And they'll kind of learn who you are and if you're going to be like what they, came out of, mean or good. And I've seen people own horses or mules for decades, and they'll have had one massive like argument with that mule, probably 7 hours out on a trail about something that was about this big. But the mule was dead set on winning the argument, but did not get to that day. And that mule will hold on to that. And it is still going to work for that owner, and it is still do its job. But at some point, it's going to cow kick or bite. And that guy was like, you know, he loved his mules, but he's like, it's like me and that one. He's like, yeah, we had a fuss several years ago, and he bit me the other day. He said, that's what that was about. My grandpa would say stuff like that too. And then as I started having to deal with it more and more, because, you know, that's how I put myself through college. I worked at horse barns and horse farms. My dad was a blacksmith. And I was like, yeah, those mules, they're very hard to predict. And I really like that. But that's also why I don't own them. I never owned them. I was training for resale when I was young, and so I never put my time in a mule. But I do respect them. That's so funny. That made me think about things I hadn't thought about a long time. And I had a horse that acted like a mule a lot. He didn't like men. Something had happened with men, and he was fine. He was just a pocket pony, but you get a man around him, and he would just cow kick or bite. It took me a few years to get that out of him. I had to really work with him and like throw every one of my guy friends. Just, can you ride him for me today? Can you like walk around him across tie? Can you know? We had just so many, you know, on the spot training ideas, and let's do that. Well, since you're here, can I borrow you for a few minutes? You know, and just to get him used to men being in his area again. He just hated men. And he would stand there, and the man would be just like put his hand over on his hip, just talking to me, or on his back or something, just kind of laying on that horse talking to me, and you'd see him kind of shift his weight to pick his foot up, and I was like, he's gonna kick you, you better move. And I'd look at that horse, and he'd be like, oh, I ain't gonna do nothing. But he would have kicked had I not moved that man. But you know, that was one of the best horses I ever rode. But he had a grudge for men. But I had to make sure that any man that I allowed around him or to ride him, I had to prove to them, because had another man done something, it would have completely ruined the whole retraining protocol I had going on with him. Because it would have broke my foundation with him as well, because I was who he trusted the most at the time, and I was allowing these people to be on him. So I had to be very careful with that horse. But he was one of the best horses I ever owned. Oh yeah, if you've got a real bond with a horse, yeah, you're just part of the herd with them. Yeah. I spent most of my childhood in the pasture with Grandpa's Belgians, or in the pasture with Shetland ponies, just moving with them through the day and hanging out with them. Yeah. Watching a lot of behavior. I've always been a behavior watcher. I guess it's just in me. I'm crocheting. This is going to be end up being hair when I get it all done. I'm just on the first layer around. I've been at it the whole time I've been on here, and I've still got 3 more layers to go. This is time consuming, but it's going to be hair eventually. It will not be this wild when I get it done, though. I will kind of straighten it down and style it. What I used to know, I want to be a mule. That's a good one to end on. I've given you a few things to think about. I'm going to look for Henry's message later, and I'll go and do my recon on that subject because it piques my interest. And yeah, I'm going to have to stop crocheting for a few minutes and get up and walk around and do a few things. I've got a few loads of laundry to fold. I'm trying to do laundry in between these rain spouts. We got like a day and a half. It's going to stop raining and be moderately dry. And then this weekend it all starts again. And I'm like, dadgummit. So we're trying to get the yard mowed, the laundry done. Because y'all, we are just swamped. We are just swamped. And I guess, I guess Missouri's had some really bad floods too. I meant to ask Boom about that the other day and I forgot. I'm going to have to stop at halfway. This is the first layer halfway around. Lord Jesus, I just got to stop. I need to let my fingers rest. I need to get up and walk. I don't like to sit this long at one time. Got a few things I need to do. I've talked enough. I need to shut up. But anyway, yeah, we covered a lot of topics. I appreciate you spending time with me. And for anybody, I added beard to biscuits. More beard. He's growing his beard out. If I'm making your doll, slow down on the changes. It's hard to keep up with it, but I added more beard. But I don't put their heads on until I got all their clothes done, because sometimes I have to put the shirts on and then sew their heads on because the shirt won't go over the head. So I don't assemble them until I have almost everything done, and then I put it together. So they're a long process for me, but I enjoy them. I am, like I said, only going to do, I've got one other Booma doll option. I put it on the Etsy last night. So Hillbilly Heart Decor, if you want a Booma doll, it says hippie, but you can ask for a regular or a hippie, either one. And then I've got one biscuits that this lady may claim. If she doesn't claim them, I may put a biscuits doll up to make. And that's going to be the last ones I can make, because I've got to shift into fall market mode for David and get some stuff done for my littles, my grandkids. And then Christmas time or first of the year, I'll switch back and see. I can do a few more then. There might be a break or time that I can squeeze one or two in, but I'm not going to be able to really focus on them again until probably turn of the year. So if you want one that bad, go grab it now, because I can't guarantee I'm going to be in doll making mode through the fall, because you know how busy we get. And then I'll have to start crocheting for Christmas, because I got expectations from the little people that call me Ninny. So I got to get busy. Mule Skinner's Blues. I can't hit that note. Rhonda Vincent can. I cannot. Probably could if I smashed my toe, but I'm not going to find that out. Oh, also, I have a new family member. Her name is Roberta Swindle, because I got her for a steal. She is a little monstera plant. She's got 3 or 4 prongs to her, and she's about that high. She's pretty. Y'all, I only spent $9 on her. I got her for a steal. That's why her name is Roberta Swindle. She is unpackaged, thriving, under the light, got freshly watered, kind of chilling after her trip. So let's all wish Roberta well, because I've never had a monstera before, and I want to have her until she's giant. So just pray I don't kill Roberta, because still $10 is expensive. So, but yeah, I got me a monstera finally. Finally got me a monstera plant, and I'm gonna let her rest and chill with me for a while before I repot her, just to let her kind of get used to being home and recover from traveling. She came from a long way away. So, okay, I'm gonna Etsy store Hillbilly Heart Decor. Dave's channel is Trapper Dave Waters. Whatnot is Hillbilly Furs. Dave's Facebook is Hillbilly Furs. Got a hillbilly in it. We're probably there. And tomorrow's a busy day, but I will try to pop in on that show. I will try. I'm going to put that in my phone as soon as I get off here. And we'll see what we can do. I'll try to update you on the dolls toward the end of the week. I'm going to actually try to have the biscuits and this one I'm working on ready to mail out this weekend, or by the first of the week. So I've just got to do some massive crocheting in the next 2 days. And with the hair going this slow, I'm going to have a long day today getting this hair done. So pray for me and the hair, because this wig cap better work, because the first rendition did not. I'm not good at hair, it seems. Got to get a new skill. That's okay. Yeah, Roberta Swindle, because, she was a steal. And I don't ever know what I'm going to name him. But when I was unpacking her and talking to her, that was what came out. I don't know why. I would love to like get a peek at the machinations within my brain. But honestly, it may not be as impressive as I think it is, and probably needs a lot of WD-40. Maybe I've just got something that doesn't work quite right, and it creates these happy little funny life moments. But her name is Roberta Swindle. I love her already. I think that Gilbert, my snake plant, is jealous. We'll work on that. Okay, I'm going to go walk, fold laundry, start dinner, finish my coffee that has been staring at me for like 2 hours now. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Lord, try to watch the rain or buy a snorkel kit for your vehicle because it don't seem like it's going to stop anytime soon. And keep Gypsy and Ashley and we got a few that are needing prayers going up. And I've tried to mention them every time I'm on here. Gypsy's doing well. She's healing. And there was another one. There's another one asked me for Adrian or Adriana. That one. Got some health issues going on as well. So toss up some prayers and good vibes. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. I know that it's just kind of like visiting, having a coffee chat with a friend. This is, for me, really good because there are sometimes weeks that I don't like get out of my little family group. Like I'm either here, I'm at the farm, or I'm at the doctor. That's legit it for me, especially when I'm having bad health clusters. So this is very important, and you're very important to me. It's, you know, you're kind of my family, and I appreciate you. It was like I was in a women's chat the other day, and it literally takes every one of us to make this what it is. And when one is not here, you are missed, and there is a void, you know, and because y'all bring so much to each thing. So I appreciate you so much. And I have been trying to go and watch a lot of pages that are being created for people that have like cancer and are trying to create shorts and reels to help supplement income to pay for healthcare. And so that has been my last like big drive on the internet and on TikTok and Instagram, not Instagram, TikTok and YouTube, is to find those people that are documenting their health journeys, like where you know without a shadow of doubt they are in that place, and trying to just I literally will leave their stuff playing all day while I'm cleaning and crocheting and doing. And just, you know, those small little things you can do for people. I'll even, like, when I go to bed at night, I'll leave it on a loop. And just, I know I'm going to be up and down a few times that night. I'm not going to rest well. I'll leave it on a loop in the living room. And just, you know, check and make sure everything's okay when I'm up and down. And just let it loop for 12 hours at night. Get them some views. I'm helping. It's my way of helping. So that is something that has, I don't know, it's made me feel better about the time I spend on screen. So this is going to become a way, probably the only financial avenue a lot of people have in the very near future. And of course, it's not a financial avenue for me. YouTube hates me. We all know that. But there is a way it can be used for good. So look for it and use it for good, because Lord knows we got enough people using it for bad. If you caught the first 5 minutes of this, you saw that. Yeah, leave prayers, words of encouragement, prayer requests, stick them in the comment section, and I always get back with you. But I appreciate you. I really do. Okay, now I gotta move. I've been sitting here way too long. Bye, guys.